Welcome to Unit 12. In this unit, we're going to talk about developing materials. Also, how to create effective and engaging materials. Chapters that will help you with this are Chapter 13, Teaching with Visual Aids, Chapter 14, Teaching with Games, and if you review Chapter 18, that will also help you with this unit. Topics in this unit include types of visuals you can use in your classroom, how to create good worksheets, what kind of games you can play in your classroom, just some examples, and how to use textbook resources. Now, the whiteboard or chalkboard is one of our most useful teaching tools, but it can be used incorrectly. So one of the biggest things you want to remember about using a whiteboard is keep some of the space clear. Don't let it get too cluttered with too much information. Also, keep what you do on the board simple. Make sure that what students are seeing is easily understood. Another way that you can help this is explain to your students what you need to write, what they need to write. That way, when you are writing on the board, students aren't writing every little thing. Tell your students, it would be a good idea for you to write this down. That way, your students only have some of the information and they're paying more attention to you as a teacher. Also, let your students use the board. It's really fun that way. If you had your students, for example, write sentences on their worksheets and you want them to share with the class, have them come up to the board and write their sentences on the board. They might be a little shy at first, but once they see people doing it and you make it look fun, then it'll be really effective. Also, you can play some whiteboard games. For example, fly swatters are a really fun tool that you can use if you have a regular whiteboard or chalkboard. Don't use them on a smartboard. A fly swatter is really fun because you can use it to have students hit vocabulary words or mark their spot. It's good for racing games. So if you have, for example, several different vocabulary words on the board and you're standing at the side, you say which word means, and you give a definition, the students will race forward and use the fly swatter to hit the word. That way they're not using their hands. That's an example of a racing vocab activity. There are more you can come up with, and Dave's ESL Cafe is a really good website for those kinds of games. Tic-tac-toe is another fun game you can play. When I play tic-tac-toe in my classroom, I have it set up like this with no X's or O's yet, and each box has an index card with a question on it. I split my class into two groups. I make them come up with a team name too. They always enjoy that. Each group picks a square that they want to put their mark on. So I lift up the question and read it. And if they get it right, then they can put their mark. If they get it wrong, then they don't put anything. And the next team can choose that question if they know the answer. So the students really want to get it right. You can also do that kind of thing with the index cards for games like Jeopardy! If you don't know what Jeopardy! Is, I suggest you look it up online. It's a very fun teaching tool used in American classrooms as review games. Another type of whiteboard game is called word creation.